Hey there, guys. We've got news for Global on March 23rd. And this week, joining me to discuss the news is Livedili. So you can say hello again, Liv.
Hey everyone, it's been a while and thanks for having me, Sinsar.
Indeed. So I'm having you back for the first best premium leader, Deoxys. Isn't that right? He's the first, right?
Yeah, totally. And the first non-global one.
Yeah, so as we know, Global did the usual thing, and Global did the first leader is Ibarra, which we got last week, although her skills are not going to be active until Thursday. But here's another leader, and going forward, most units are going to be having a. Actually, I think every unit going forward has a leader skill of varying quality. Usually the premiums are the
Yeah.
good ones, and then the non premiums are forgettable.
So standard JP stuff, right? If it's premium, it's half decent. If it's not, skip.
So his step up really doesn't have any perks for it. It's got the 50 fragments. He is a premium unit, as we mentioned, but no vision card, no armory ticket, nothing like that. Uh, it does look like he has a slightly higher rate. If I remember, I don't think Ibarra had the 10% rate at the end, but I could be. Did she? Do you
I
remember?
I actually don't know. I just blindly pulled on the Ibarabana without checking, to be honest. So it might be the case because Ibarra had the vision card, but I'd be speculating here. I can't say for certain.
Yeah, I forgot to. Not that big a deal. In any case, here is Deoxys's Dio step up. I hate his name.
Yeah,
Um,
let's just go with Dio memes from JoJo all the time. I really have to keep myself from making any JoJo meme references here.
oh, go for it. Go for it if you want to. but
Perfect.
so he's not getting any global upgrades. Not that he specifically needed it. I mean, he's a fine unit as he is for our current game. But it's always nice to see sometimes they'll get an upgrade because the one thing about him is his kit is incredibly boring. It really
Yeah.
like reminds me of the premium Sephiroth when he came out. Like good unit, good damage, but just as boring as it gets. And that's kind of how his is.
Yeah. To be honest, I've read so much hype about Dio all along throughout the last 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 weeks, probably. And I'm sitting here every time wondering what's so special about him. He's literally Dark Rain from, I don't know, 8 months ago. Everybody hyped him up, and then he was like, yeah, that happened. He never saw play. And I feel like Dio, now here's one of the Dio memes. How long will he last? Well, not more than 9 seconds in this meta. I just don't see play for him. That's why I was low-key hoping for some kind of buff. Maybe give him cloud style morale stuff at some point or onto one ability so we can use him in Clash. I mean, truthfully, you can still use him in this Clash because why not? But other than the 500% leader buff, that's pretty much it. He's dead in the waters, pretty much.
Yeah, he does. He does respect. He does good damage. He has a great leader skill. In my opinion, it is overall better than Ibarra's. But yeah, he's just like a damage dealer that has a great leader skill, and that's mostly kind of it. Which depending on who you ask, they might say, "What else more do you need?" He's a good damage and a leader skill, and he is. So he's a good
Yeah.
unit. Um, I will say,
Debatable whether it's better than Ibarra though, because in case of Ibarra, the Dark Mage Core is so much stronger than anything physical Dark or Anniversary JP tag. Because let's just take a look, an isolated look at Ibarra, Shantoto, Lady Shantoto in that case, and Swolbas. Those three, that huge Dark Core is so much stronger than anything you can put on in the Dark tag with Dio and the JP anniversary. That's kind of a tough sell for at least me regarding Dio.
yeah, that is true. For the physical dark side, the only one that's really going to be seriously missing the 500 attack power would be Sephiroth, and I guess in the future, Dark Reagan, but he's pretty far away. For me, the more irritating thing, just from my personal viewpoint, is that Ibarra's is so limited to only dark, whereas Dio has
That's
the
true.
dark and JP anniversary. And it's kind of the same thing as like the physical dark units. There's only like 2 or 3 units that even matter for JP anniversary. But the ones that I personally used a lot on JP with Dio would be the Anniversary Rain, the Scarlet Rain, and I would use him with Sephiroth, and that was like my core, and it still is my core 3-man party for Dark Visions. Is those three, and Dio is the leader skill that ties both of them together on the same party.
And it works, I guess. That sounds good.
Now he is a trance shift, which now I will tell you right now from experience, it's very irritating to have a 4-turn trance shift because, like I said, I do use him a decent amount in JP, including for the upcoming trials, and this 4-turn trance shift is so irritating. It's Dark Visions, you don't care, but if you're taking him to like Clash of Wills, for example, or any of the trials, or some of the harder EX fights, 4 turns up, 4 turns down is just, and his base form is worthless. Like you may as well. It's like Lady Pearl almost. Like it's
Oh boy.
real bad. So
I haven't even looked at it, but yeah. I mean, let's take a look at the glasses half full side of things. At least it's 4 turns, not 3 turns, unlike Chizuru. uh, and one of the cool perks I like of him is that he autofills his LB every turn. Isn't that right?
yes, in his shift form, but yes,
Shift form. Yes, yes, yes.
yes.
I think that's a cool gimmick. I like it a lot.
No, that is amazing, and that is also one of the big reasons I do use him so often in JP is because he is so self-sufficient for his bursting. You don't need like Entrust. Like if you're using Sephiroth, Scarlet Rain, etc., and you want to do consistent bursting back to back to back, you're going to need Entrust or a party to fill them back up. Dio doesn't need that, so that is very convenient for him. We'll go to his vision card real quick. So his vision card is basically all the premium elemental vision cards going forward are the exact same thing. They're all 170 attack and magic, 500 flat, 100 LB damage, 80 attack and magic percent, and then all that. But they're all locked to an elemental tag. Dio's is dark. All the rest are the same thing. Rains is fire, Squalls is light, etc. So this card is, at the very top end, it's going to be better than Ibarra's card when you can wear it. But it's only for dark units though. So, yeah. Is this a card that people should go like? You think they should chase this one more for like the top like DV players live? Like, is this a card that you think people should really go for because it's like slightly better than Ibarra's on dark units, or is Ibarra's good enough?
Yeah, it highly depends, I'd say. I do wonder though, this does really not have 500 static magic on it because it's technically both. It only states attack 500.
Oh,
Is it really?
that might be a typo. You know what? Let's look real quick at JP. I'm pretty sure it's a typo. I'm 99.99% sure it has magic in JP as well. It does. It does. Yeah,
Okay.
because this card I use on Dark Rain for magic fights and all. So yeah, that's. I seriously doubt they're nerfing it. That's got to be a typo in the news.
I was like looking at this and wonder, did they forget the 500 magic? But yeah, if it does have the 500 magic, which I totally assume it does, it's probably, at least for Dark Visions high rank, one of the most wanted cards whenever you want to use Dark. It's slightly better than Ibarra's card. Ibarra's card is basically Titus's card on steroids. Allows for very efficient gearing, but this is just a stat stick with higher stats. Especially the LB damage increases very neat to have. Ibarra for herself, for example, would love this because you have to use limits of magic on her to be really efficient in terms of gearing, which limits of magic is time limited from the second armor, if I'm not totally mistaken. So I'd say if you're really going for high DV ranks, 2 vision cards of this would be nice. But then again, it's very expensive. So
Mm-hmm.
Always that silver lining. I mean, I like the card. It's fine. I'm just not a huge fan of these category locks for dark units. I do prefer Ibarra's open standard card, which is slightly weaker, very very slightly weaker, I'd say, but also depends on the use case. But it's open for anyone, and I love that. I think it's the overall more useful card than Dio's card.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And then as far as TMR and STMR, his TMR is just a very generic, relatively low attack power killer chest. Does have Dragon Killer, so it's something. And then the STMR is just a very, very standard two-handed STMR weapon. It's a great sword with some human killer on it at the end. Yeah.
At least it's 100, but yeah.
Mm-hmm. So as far as the unit himself, I am probably not going to pull for him. Even though I did get Ibarra recently, even if I hadn't, I still probably wouldn't have pulled on him. I would have personally waited for Scarlet Rain in the future because I think he is an overall more economical leader skill for someone that can't just chase every single unit every single week. How about you, Livedili? You think he's a unit you think you're going to want to go for, or just hope for an off banner someday?
An off-ban one day. I actually, it's kind of funny. I just don't see any play, and I can't justify spending 140k on EX plus 3 deal when I pretty much know he'll be benched immediately. So I'm a skip, honestly. I can't even pull. I'm on vacation for the next 2.5 weeks, so I have all Apple and all my Lapin are on Google Play Store. So yeah, all I can offer is tickets, but I won't. I'll save my tickets for Rain, honestly. Or
All right.
Lastwell.
All right. Oh, yeah. If Laswell gets some buffs, he could be good. He could be.
Exactly.
And then the event is the farm style event, the Aldor Tower Investigation. Not much to say here. It's a farm event. So they're going to have the new tag system for bonuses. It's going to be JP anniversary for your bonuses. It's easy to clear. It's a daily EX battle. This one is just for bonus drops. It's not like a challenge fight or anything. It's very easy. Go in there, kill it, done. Nothing special there. We're also getting the Dark Lineage event. This is similar to the Dark Rain event, where you're going to get like a chapter each week or each update, giving more and more of the story. This is explaining how Dio, who he is, what he's doing, why he's here, why we're fighting him, etc. Do you read the story, Liv, or are you like skip?
Skip. I've never read anything. I didn't even know there was anybody else than Rain and Laswell in the story until later when people told me there was Madame Adele and her manor. I was like, what?
For me, honestly speaking, I have always been one to read all of the story stuff, but lately I've started to skip a little bit. Kind of this I don't know. The story in Brave Exvius has been like. I know this is not like the main story, but season 3, I trudged through it. I suffered through it anyway. Then season 4 got way better, and I was so happy again. But now it feels like season 4 has really been decreasing in quality, like almost to the point of season 3, and I've started losing interest. So the past two events, I've just kind of skipped story. But
Really?
I know it's I don't know.
People had high or held the standards very high for season 4. So I was like, maybe I should read it. But now,
Season 4 was good, but I mean, if I hear that stupidity with Roos and we've got a dual Rain one more time, I'm just gonna lose it. It kills me so hard. It is so cringe and so stupid that it has just turned me off to the story entirely. That and this is not even the season 4 story. This is a whole standalone story. So I'm kind of going off on a tangent, but yeah, the Dark Lineage is starting on Thursday.
that's good.
Now here is the hard fight. So this is the start of tag locked content. So you can see right here, exclusive to select units. So by memory, they might confirm for me right here. I guess they're not going to. I think it was locked to either Dark or JP Anniversary. I
Oh
think.
boy.
Yeah, I think. It's definitely locked to either one, the other, or both. But I can't remember if it was just Dark, if it was just JP Anniversary, or if it was both. I don't remember.
I
But
really
anyway,
hope it's dark, honestly.
yeah, so they are starting to lock fights and crowns and all that behind tags, tag lock content. I probably should have organized the news better to go over tags first, but we're going to get to that in a minute. But yeah, so now, while this is a locked fight, I will say they started us off very simple, very easy. So it's a locked fight, but it is not hard. It is not hard at all. So unless you're like a relatively, 2 or 3 month old player, you're going to be fine on this because it's pretty easy. But I will just give an early warning that the difficulty of these locked fights slowly scales up over time until the point in current JP, in my opinion, it has gotten to the point where even like veterans are having problems doing the missions. So, yeah,
Boy,
it's
it doesn't bode well.
mm-hmm.
It technically boils down to, do you have the current flavor of the month leader? Cool. If not, well, come back in 6 months.
But it's for Dark Rain's crown. So I was a little concerned that maybe we weren't going to be getting this on time, but looks like we are, so that's awesome. So he gets upgraded. The summary is his LB gets stronger. He gets a modifier boost for it. He gets a lot more magic. He gets a leader skill, and he gets a new 150 amplify, one-time use like Sephiroth and all that. And that comes from level 4 of this fight. So you do have to beat the fight with the mission before you can actually do that amplify. And it is time limited, so this is something to keep in mind. You do want to do this while it's here, because if you can't beat it by Wednesday, April 5th, we're going to talk more about this in a minute, but on Global, it looks like it just goes away. On JP, it became permanent, but Global seems to not be doing that, and we'll talk about that in just a moment as we get there. So, are you excited about Dark Rain's crowns, especially for your Dark Mage team, Livedili?
Uh, Now that you mention it, I haven't even calculated Dark Raid's upgrades yet,
Oh,
so I
really?
can't. Yeah, I totally forgot that he exists, and his crowns exist, so I don't know. But he's still dual wield, right?
He still should be dual wield, quote unquote, but no, you basically go double hand on him because
Is
it's more damage.
that
It's
feasible?
more damage.
Is that feasible though, or are you really hamstringing your damage?
No,
Because
no,
I remember.
it's totally fine because on JP I do that, and even on JP I can still max everything while double hand, because he has the 6 times chain cap, unrestricted. So even while double hand, he is still max
Oh,
chain cap. Yeah.
okay, that then he should be fine. Yeah.
Yeah, you give him his own personal card, the Dark Rain card. One of the really nice things for him is return secure as STMR. It's the two-handed magical spear with 100% LB damage on it. It's very
Oh
helpful
yeah,
for
that's
him.
nice.
Yeah,
Yeah, and he doesn't really care that the Sakura spear is lightning element, so because he's dark magic.
yeah. So it's it definitely requires some specific gear, but if you have it, he can absolutely cap everything while double hand, and that will end up being more damage. Now that being said, that's JP. On Global, they upgraded his STMR, and by memory, his dual wielded global upgraded STMR made him at least competitive while true dual wield. But
Exactly. Yeah.
after the true dual wield cap to 400%, that might make him better dual wield on Global. I don't know.
Right. We do have that 400 True Dual Wield update already, don't we?
Well, we're getting that on Thursday. Yeah, that's going to be
Oh,
part
it's
part
on
of the
this.
update Thursday.
I probably should pre-calc this sometime later today or tomorrow, just to see which actually comes out at. Because now that I think of it, 400 to dual wield might actually better for him, especially with the global upgrade to his STMR.
Yeah, so that'll be me either. I haven't actually checked into the global upgrade version of it, so yeah, that'll be cool to see. But in any case, he is still pretty strong after his upgrades. I do think Lady Shantoto is slightly better at the high end, but most people don't have Lady Shantoto at EX3 yet, and they probably do for Rain because he's so old at this point. So he's definitely going to be a good unit for a lot of players. That'll be really nice to get him upgraded. And here is some of the leaders, or actually apparently all the leader skills being added on this week. So just real quick, 100% attack and magic to Dark Fina, Warrior's Prayer, and Lady Shantoto. 100 defense and spirit to Gabranth. These are only for dark units, by the way. And then for JP anniversary tag units, the Sakura Return and Nicole. Also, Dark Rain is getting this. They kind of messed up the news here. He's also getting Victorious Celebration Dark. So, he's getting the Dark version. He's not getting the JP Anniversary version. So never mind that. And then Ibarra's. So we're missing a lot of skills on this as well. So
Knights of Grandchild.
Let's go over real quick to some of the things that. We'll come back. Okay, we're going to come back to that one more time. Here are some other features that Global is adding in this update. So the Quest Autoplay. This is basically used to farm Mog events or those free unit stages like the Kelger or the Sonin, the Reno stage where you got to farm the shards to EX3. That's what this is for. It allows you to run it up to 10 times per click, and it'll just automatically do it for you. So convenient. It makes farming a little bit less of a headache, I guess.
I still feel like the idea behind this is great. Execution, however, is not. I would have loved if they just extended this feature to pretty much all types of content. I would have really liked this if it were applicable to Dark Visions, such that I don't have to use a macro just to repeat the fight all over again. It's just a convenience thing, but why not extend this to pretty much all content areas, or say Arena? That'd be fine too.
Yeah. Well, for Dark Visions, probably the reason you can't do it there is just because the repeat. So this thing right here, if you're not turn 1 OTKing the stuff, this is not really going to be for you because it will repeat your previous turn. But if it can't repeat the turn identically, it kind of breaks and your unit starts just auto attacking. Yeah,
okay.
So basically all it does is push the repeat button each turn, and once your repeat breaks, for example, if you set a unit to use a cooldown on turn 1 or an LB on turn 1, and then on turn 2 the fight's not won and the LB is unavailable, it will default to normal attacking. So it'll kind of break it. So it's really only good for super trivial content.
Why?
Yeah, exactly.
That's so inconsistent. Why can't they just make it an auto repeat? I'm saying auto repeat, but just restart the battle and let me do whatever I want to do. Well,
now
it's still better than nothing.
Yeah. Now, one thing I will say that is very weird that they don't include is raids. That they are just so against making raids less tedious. They're still on the 5 orbs. You can't use all orbs at once, and raids are also excluded from auto repeat. Why? Why? I don't get it.
I wouldn't be surprised at all if this was to the fault of the spaghetti code that is FFP.
Could be. And then this we talked about during the live stream. Dark Visions will be permanently open at this point, and anytime a Dark Visions event is not actively running, you can always, even when it's closed, you can go back and rerun the fights as a testing ground. So it's not super useful, but if you want to, it's an option now. So
I like it, honestly. It's a better version of the target dummy. You can actually test versus actual enemies. At least I will probably use it a few times just to test macros, see if everything goes smoothly, and whether chains work, etc. So I like it a lot because I can test on 6 units, whereas on the target dummy you can only use 5. So I like it a lot.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And another thing about time. So you know how when you do a raid summon and you get like your Cact Wars and it pops up? These Cact Wars have been converted into
Yeah.
enhancement points every single time. That is finally being removed. So,
And you don't need that reminder? How dare
yep, yep. And then leader skills are being added, which we kind of already went over. And then categories. So categories are, when I say tags, I'm referring to what Global is calling categories. It's the same thing. It's, each unit is going to get a bunch of categories. Like their example, Save Your Lightning is a Lightning, Attacker, Support, and Final Fantasy 13 unit. And you can use that for filters. That lets you know who qualifies for what leader skill. It's also going to tell you who is locked out of what fight and who isn't, depending on the category locked content, etc. And they add a bunch more categories in the future. At the start, they're all very, very basic and obvious, like series, elemental, and role. There's a bunch more in JP now that are much more interesting. For example, the new one that just came out, like the rebellion category. Any unit that was involved in a rebellion during their game, they all share a category. Those are kind of cool, I think. Those kind of
I
more interesting categories.
like that too. It adds nice flavor to the unit, and B, it also makes them stand out a little bit more. I like it. I like the flavor part especially. It's more reminiscent of the actual games.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And then filters, like I said, you can filter by category at this point. After that, and you can filter who has a leader skill or not. And yeah, so that's the stuff they are adding. Now let's pop over real quick to this patch on the JP server and what have they cut out of this patch. So this is the JP same patch we're getting on Thursday. So JP added a bunch more of the free leader skills. So we're getting Dark Rain, Dark Fina. Apparently, Global is cutting Rain Warrior's Prayer, Axstar the Return, Emperor Vlad, Saul, Sephiroth. For whatever reason, they are cutting Sephiroth's leader skill. Now, most of these are, you don't really care. But Vlad, you might bring him for the field. You might bring Sephiroth because he's really good. You're not going to bring Arden, but he is getting cut as well. They're cutting Corley. We don't care. Knight's Grandchild, Fina the Return, Reagan. They're cutting Rain and Fina, Lasso Reagan, Dark Fina, and Saul. So these are a lot of free leader skills being cut from the global version or delayed. They might be coming later, but they're cutting
Yeah,
them from this patch. So how do you feel about that, Liv?
I I kind of understand to some degree why they're cutting units such as Warriors Prayer Rain or Reagan, Kexstar, just because they probably want to bring them with the units that are coming later, such as Scarlet Flame Rain. But what I really don't understand is Sephiroth, for example. But sure, you probably wouldn't ever use him as your primary leader when you have Deoxys or Ibarra. I mean, if you're forced to use a Final Fantasy VII team, might as well use him, right? But you can't. Doesn't do
Mm-hmm.
anything.
Yeah, it's really like it's I guess their reasoning is, oh, he might compete with Deoxys for sales, but he's not. His leader skill is nowhere near as good. It was just like the budget version for people that couldn't afford to go for Dio. So they would use like
Uh,
Sephiroth, and he'd be better. And they cut it on global, and it's just annoys me so much.
it's also Knights of Grandeur are also missing. And Gumi usually doesn't skip premium upgrades. I believe we've gotten all of the premium unit upgrades on time, so that leaves me wondering why we're skipping Sephiroth and Knights of Grandchild right now, which I don't know. It's
Mm.
just boggling my mind, honestly.
Hmm. And then the other kind of major thing we're skipping, for one thing, Roka is missing. She was like a
All
new
right.
Neovision. Yeah, she's just not on the Dio banner at all. It's just Dio by himself. So do
What
you think
happened to
she's being?
Roka?
I know. Do you think she's being just cut entirely, or are they moving her to her own standalone banner?
Let's hope she's not a Monday bait banner, but they probably would have announced this. I mean, Roka was she bad or was she just mid tier?
She was basically the carbon copy of the the Vacation Water Fina. She's just the Earth version.
Oh.
So she's just
Oh.
the very boring, I hit for damage once in a fight, but she's Earth. And that was her.
Okay.
So I mean, she was good on an Earth team, but kind of it.
Maybe they'll just release her at some later point. I don't know. Maybe next week. Maybe in 2 weeks. To have more coverage for banners. I don't know.
Yeah.
It feels weird skipping.
Yeah. Also, the Neovision's Awakening of Scarlet is apparently not in the patch where we were expecting it. And she was decent in JP. She was an EX unit in JP, so it's a little bit different. It's kind of like Medina and Lauren. So Medina was delayed 6-8 months on global. Do you think they're going to do the same thing for Scarlet?
Please don't. I mean, NVAs don't really matter that much unless it's Swolbess or XDev, but it always feels bad when they skip free stuff, basically.
Mm-hmm. And then Lauren and Medina got upgrades on global. They got ability awakenings. I think they got crowns as well. I don't remember specifically, but they definitely got upgraded. We're skipping that.
Medina is just tradition at this point.
Mm-hmm. Oh, jeez. And then the other thing we are apparently skipping, which is kind of a big deal, is the sealed rum. So this is what I've mentioned before. Remember how I mentioned how if you don't do the event, by April, it's gone? This is an event that would, all these time-limited unit upgrade stuff, they would move to a permanent room in JP. It's in the Vortex. You would use keys to get in here to replay past events that you either missed or, couldn't clear on time because your leader skill wasn't good enough, something like that. It was added in this patch to a permanent room. You could always do it forever, so time-limited content wasn't really time-limited anymore. Apparently Global is not adding this as well. So do you think this is going to be a complete skipped feature on Global, or are they going to be just doing it later? Any predictions, Liv?
My prediction is gonna be it'll be in the next Q&A section, and Gumi's gonna say, "Yeah, we're gonna bring this at some later point," and then all of a sudden make the big announcement: Global anniversary. We're bringing back that room. We're releasing that room. As if it was so special.
And then the other stuff, this is more anniversary stuff. This was JP's anniversary, so we're not really we don't really expect the inventory upgrade and all, so that's not really something a thing. So that's it for the new content of this week.